Hello everyone. This is about CTE degrees that pay well, and just CTE degrees and pay in general. Again, I'm Joe Klunder, teacher, researcher, counselor, and instructional designer. Now, we're going to talk about how to get a top paid CTE certificate. First, research, research, research. A job that's top paid in one area, and hopefully high demand and top paid, may not necessarily be in another. For instance, with my family in Texas or in the deep south, like Louisiana, oil rig workers are good, and they have high demand, high paid. Whereas being a medical worker, I haven't heard that much. Whereas in other places I've been to, such as Pittsburgh, uh, 10, 15 years ago, the medical industry and the IT were in high demand, so high employability. So those were where there were no oil rigs that I saw in Michigan or in Pittsburgh. So again, what's true in one area is not true in another, and vice versa. You really got to see the research and what's happening locally. I like to go by the county, but some people choose by the city, some people choose, etc., by the whole. You could say the whole state area if you want. If I had to say across the board answer, the degrees with the highest pay are computer science and IT. So anything on the cutting edge of computer science, like cybersecurity now, uh, is going well. Software developer. Anything medical and dental, because you still need live people. A radiology technician, a sterile tech, a dental tech. Many people, because they still need live people. You can't outsource that. You can't AI that when you need a dental assistant. Okay, construction, manufacturing, mechatronics, process tech, solar and wind power. People who install the solar and wind power, that's being able to do so. Again, do research. There's all been booming areas in every county I've studied, and there's all been some mediocre areas. And you should enlist the help of a high school counselor or CTE counselor to be able to look at that. Usually the government research is the best. Now, is there anything wrong with having money as a top goal? Many people at the best schools you went to, even call Harvard, religious organizations, say it's wrong to chase after money, or they really, if a person says, I really am into doing it for the money, there isn't too much resources that I've seen out there. Then again, though, many of these people who work at these places and say, you shouldn't care about the money, you should care about the philanthropy of it, usually their expenses are covered. They don't make any of their own money. They're not doing that, in my experience. Um, that's why CT perhaps is a man who wants to be a working man and make it all themselves. It means a lot to them. My studies of happiness show family happiness. It rises predictably until about 100K a year, 100K USD a year, and that's per family, not per income earner. So many two earners, if they're earning 50,000, or one is earning 60, one is earning 40, that can actually be a quite happy family. From the studies I've read that have happened, let's say 10 years ago. Um, those studies may be wrong. They need to be updated with all the economic changes that happened in the last 5 years. But we find that many people, including with a CTE pathway, if you have two computer programmers or two nurses, they may be able to be quite happy together and make the minimum money. It's not like they can't make enough to be happy, and according to studies I've seen. Now, is CTE always the answer to making more pay? Of course not. A responsible person would say there are many different ways to make a lot of money. Some people start their own businesses. Some people are go to the traditional path of law school, being a medical doctor, professional school. Other people have their own ways to make money. There are plenty of different ways. Just the whole thing with CTE is it's a predictable way to get a skills-based certificate, and that certificate guarantees 98% or so employability. So if you can research and find a certificate in your area that has very high 95, 90% employability or pay is above average, that's a good way to get your foot in the ground. That's a good way to get some money coming in. You can get above the minimum. You won't be struggling your whole life. And then we see at the top fields, air traffic controller, cybersecurity, certain medical technicians, etc., can be making $50 an hour, $60 an hour. So if you really get lucky and you find a niche field, you get certified in it, you can make that money, and you put in a lot of hours, more than even the regular 2,000 hours an American worker works a year. You're making over 100,000. That's not everybody, but that's being able to really put your best foot forward and make the best use of a CTE program. And then, who does not make money in CTE? It's true that it is employable, but who doesn't necessarily make a lot? Traditionally, low-paid work still is low-paid, even before there is the CTE program, etc. So being early childhood education, being a nanny, it's never been particularly well paid. Hospitality, such as receptionists, waiters, etc., always had pay that was very entry level. Cosmetology, being able to do haircraft, etc. Usually the people who are serious about cosmetology, they could do community college, but they also paid for it, say Paul Mitchell or professional school. Again, these have always been low-paid professions, even though there are plenty of people who did make a lot of money through owning their own business through other areas. Um, People with health problems, psychological problems, social problems like being a high school dropout or conduct disorders, etc., still face low pay. That's going to affect them even if whatever your profession, whatever your education, including CTE. CTE doesn't remedy those problems. Beyond income, the key thing to turn it into wealth is to save it, invest it, and repeat. So that's the real goal for anybody, whether you're doing CTE or becoming a professional job or really anything. So wealth is the far greater predictor of social status than income. So hopefully many people who become a plumber or electrician can still manage to make a lot of money and save it and put it in key areas. It's a key thing that many people need to internalize. Now, CTE, I agree, it's good for people who are their teens, early 20s, in fact, anybody who wants to upskill or reskill to get a job. But then, what do people do after? Again, hour per hour, CTE is often the best payment method. It helps people get to work. It's a really great thing, especially short term. But even if it works, even if you get that factory job or that car mechanics job or that certified nursing assistant, is it enough? I would say no, it's not enough, because we see people like Roger and Me, that film where GM, they lost half the jobs in Michigan, and just Flint and cities like it, Pontiac, Detroit, just went to shreds. People didn't know how to get upskilled, they didn't know where to move, they weren't willing to move, etc. So I think even when people get the job, you shouldn't just stop going to school. You should still get further skills. You should still keep on with the program. You should still do a counseling. It should be seen as a lifelong process of making yourself into a stronger worker. So again, continuous progress, upskilling. You can still get a bachelor's degree while you're working. Even Georgetown or Harvard have degrees for working people now. I know, it's amazing. But I think I encourage anybody, if they get that really good, well-paying union job at a Detroit factory, also be willing to work towards your college degree, because life will always change. So you can always have a good degree to fall back on. That's the end of it.